And that was Adebanke Oduni giving us some updates on the happenings in the Nigerian entertainment industry. Well, you already know that this is the entertainment segment of the Saturday Breakfast Show and the best part of your Saturday. Welcome. I am Theophilus Ilama. Today, we have the talented Koffi Tha Guru here with us in the studio to discuss the latest in the Nigerian entertainment industry. Thank you very much for coming this morning.
Thank you, and happy anniversary.
You just chip that in. Thank you very much there. Okay, so you are professionally known as Koffi Tha Guru, right? Why do you call yourself the Guru?
Because I kind of have been able to embody different elements of entertainment. Okay. I am the only entertainer who has an award in every field in entertainment.
Oh, okay.
Comedy, music, movies. In fact, even animation, best animation and use of animation, 2008 for Officer Video.
Oh, okay.
From my second
I remember
album. I've been able to conquer all the spaces, 30 music albums, over 30 movies, 2 books, and more coming.
I would say you are the definition of the real Idon.
We thank God.
Okay, so let's look at the different developments in the entertainment industry. You saw the issue with Mr. Ibu's health.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And
pathetic.
The different reactions that have come into play, especially that of this particular guy, very dark black man, who berated the movie industry, AGN and all of that. That's why Kanayo had to come out to talk there.
For me, I think I just saw what Kanayo said.
Yes.
Most times, we don't know what is happening behind the scenes. And then we judge by social media expectations. We expect that everything must be thrown out there for the world to see. Yeah. I don't belong in that category or mindset that, for instance, the way people judge me too, because they don't see, and I don't show them. It is what I want you to see that you see. As we speak, I just now saw in the papers that a foundation has taken up the charge. Maybe behind the scenes, they were doing things that you didn't know. But then maybe someone now felt, okay, we needed more. We needed more doesn't mean that some people were not doing something. And it was not so necessary to come out in the open because from time immemorial, in that association, they've always taken care of their own the best way they can. Okay. Knowing that even the actors and these people are also daily hustlers. It is what they see that they get. And it is from their little earnings that they're also trying to support their own. So from that generation, it wasn't expected that they should always come out to make press clippings about what they are doing for their colleagues. So the social media age came and you still expect them to suddenly now change and say, okay, me, I don't give Mr. Ibu 5K. No. And we should be careful the way we call people out. A younger friend is in trouble now for calling someone out without due diligence. Some of these wanting to just, sometimes you want to rant legit and sometimes you just go off point. It is not every issue that we must rant or castigate people for. We need to find out, have you called Mr. Ibu to find out if his people are doing something? Okay. Have you called the family if you can't reach Mr. Ibu? What? And by the way, must it be fellow actors that would help him? He has a family. Okay, what if the family has said, no, we don't want anything from you people. We don't want anything that tomorrow you will now use to say, okay, if not for us, your father would be dead. So you don't know the things brewing on the. So sometimes we should just leave people with their issues and focus on other things. Especially in this instance, Nollywood is not as you perceive it. Entertainment as a whole, actually, is not as you perceive it. Right in there, a place without structure, everybody is just trying to make ends meet. And
that's a problem because the structure issue has been on since Nollywood started up till now. Why are we still having the same problem?
That's because we don't have proactive people in government who can see beyond crude oil. Okay. You know, it takes for a very learned people to understand the dynamics of engagement in the workplace and the workforce and how to take the young people out of penury. But we don't have people who can see beyond their monthly allowance from government coffers. So if we have people who can actually see that, oh, come, they can do the math, then they'll realize that, okay, this is where we should go put more of our energy. Nollywood make billionaires of some marketers and traders in Alaba at some point.
Okay.
Now we're in a digital age where there's more that can come from investing in Nollywood because there are several platforms globally who are now buying into our content. So it means if government can structure it and put their own percentage on it, I'm telling you, we would forget oil.
If we are talking about a structure, it looks like something big, something vague. Streamline this. What sort of structure are we looking at?
Take, for instance, if you bought a CD in America at some point,
Yeah.
you'll see FBI anti-piracy warning. It means the American government has a stake in it. If you pirate that CD, you're in trouble. So it was protected. 50 Cent's album could sell without him worrying about piracy. But here in Nigeria, I released my movie, and in 2 days' time, it is all over the place, and I'm not getting returns on it. Now, imagine that if government has funds invested in that movie, government will protect their own property and make sure nobody takes from it. Government makes their money, I make my money. I'm able to recycle and then go back to work, and the cycle continues. I'm able to engage young people, more people. So if government can put in place structures for piracy to seize, you know, there are punishments for people who are caught as pirates. That's one area that can immediately help. Then there is one other part of production that we tackle constantly in Lagos. I have been able to get some funds. I want to go on location in places in Lagos. And then we have street urchins coming to disturb me, destroy my equipment and all of that. We don't have any government structure in place to protect that area of production. We don't have structures in Nigeria like film villages where people can go in. Government does not have those things.
Okay.
If you want to go to Mexico now or all those other countries, you watch movies like when they were shooting Fast and Furious, where they're shooting in their towns.
Yes.
I'm not sure we can shut down Lagos Island to shoot Mission
Without
Impossible.
disturbance.
You understand? So we don't have structures in place that can cater for elaborate filmmaking. Now, in the area of stand-up comedy, corporate Nigeria, for instance, sees you as a solo brand that they must not invest in totally because the noise always ends up being about you. Okay. It's just in some recent times now that some corporate brands see the need to align. I can't mention names on air. True. That if you okay, let's support stand-up comedy in Nigeria. And they are doing well with it. Basket Mouth Show is coming. They're solidly behind him. It took a long time to get to that point. But most of the time, you see corporate Nigeria supporting ventures that you barely even can see the aftermath. But if you can put your support behind certain elements in entertainment and it continues to go, you see that a lot of young people are going to leave the vicious cycle of survival like Yahoo, cultism, drugs, and all those things. And then, yes,
creative industry.
Yes, because a lot of them are talented, but once they do 2 or 3 years and it's frustrating, they just go back to wherever they're coming from. So corporate Nigeria needs to wake up on that and say, look, a lot of these corporate brands actually have funds that they turn over year in, year out without knowing what to do with it. A lot of the brands, like, I won't mention names again, they will earmark some money for CSR. But one particular person in the company can just decide they don't like a particular artist and will decide not to support. Meanwhile, if they had done that, only me, for instance, now I'm doing a show, I'm employing up to 60 people. Imagine the turnover. 60 people have, now Bobby is doing his own show, he's employing about 100 people. AY is doing his own show, he's employing about 200 people. You know, all of these boils down to employment and then continuous. And return on investment can come if government starts to put in place some of these things. I see they are doing the National Theatre now.
Yes. And the Lagos State just embarked on a partnership for the Lagos Film City.
Yeah, I see all of this, but are you protecting the people that will participate in these arenas? Look at Costain, for instance. The whole area is dark, is looking like once you step out, street urchins are going to snatch your bag. And so the things that we should put in place first, we are not putting them in place. You know, a lot of the time you can't go to events and come back home late because you are scared to move around at night. What are you doing about those things? Where is the security? Well, you know, there's a lot that needs to be done before entertainment can thrive. There was a time that back in the 70s, 80s, entertainers used to be up and about till the very wee hours without any fear of anything. People moved around easily. We need to go back to those times, Now, we just had an album launch for my act, Ashni. I told people 4 to 8 p.m. so that I don't want any issues when someone else said it was when we left them Kofi's event. No, I don't want... And I made sure we finished the event at 7 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. I said 4 to 8. I finished at 7 so that everybody can go home safely. So security is one other thing affecting entertainment. And I pray we get it right eventually.
It's possible. But looking at the industry, you talked about the comedy industry and how corporate Nigeria is beginning to look into that sector.
Yeah.
What form of structure was put in place for that to happen?
Initially, for you to put up a show, you need to save up money, reach out to some neighborhood egbons to support you, some babalaye, please, daddy, cap in hand and all that. And like I said, because corporate Nigeria sees that when the promo runs, Kofi live, so it's not about their brand, but with time, with enlightenment, with social media and the virality of things, some corporate brands are now seeing that, okay, in all of your engagement, because the reason why it couldn't happen in the past was because if you go on maybe TV platforms now and mention the brand name, you would have to pay heavily.
True.
But now with social media, on my page, I can mention any brand.
And everybody sees it.
So now they are seeing that, okay, and then because skit makers also have been able to evolve the partnership with corporate brands, so they now see the need to say, okay, I can work with this brand. He can do skits for me. He can do mentions on his page. He can do this. He can do that. So corporate Nigeria is now buying into that. They're even doing comedy challenges. They're doing a lot of things now with comedy, unlike before, where it has to be a solo man run.
Looking at, you mentioned something that's quite important, skit makers, content creators.
Yeah.
They say content is king.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who believe that content creators are not comedians. That the real comedians are the ones who stand up on stage, who perform live and all of that.
No. Comedy is vast. You see, forgive me for the use of word. Ignorance is something that is really selling a lot in Nigeria now. The more ignorant you are, the more it seems you're making sense to people, especially in social media space. People don't know that comedy is very vast. Before we were able to package stand-up comedy to the corporate level, it was just slapstick, and then sitcoms. You would watch Zebediah, you would watch Frank Spencer, you would watch all of those things. It was comedy, okay? Then under the tree in every neighborhood when they are playing draft, there's always one baba throwing jazz. And, fella used to throw yabis as humor. So comedy is vast. It's not structured to just one engagement. Stand-up comedy is just another side of comedy, So long as you can engage people and make them like, there's music comedy. There's pantomime, there's clowning, so there are different genres of comedy. So you can't say because somebody now does skits and makes you laugh, they are not qualified to be a comedian.
But there are concerns about some of their content.
You can say there are concerns because most of their contents are crude and sells nudity. And let's go straight to what we're trying to address. Yes, people are angry that if they don't show some parts of women, it seems their contents do not attract attention. That's not all of them. I can beat my chest and say one of the most creative people in that space is Mr. Macaroni. He engages in a very good way. Taoma does the same thing. Sabinus does the same thing. But some of the other guys just feel they are not getting their props enough and they must keep attracting your attention with women's body parts. I totally disagree with it. I've seen people who come at me and say, Kofi, what are you people doing? What can I do? In my generation, I played my part as an upcomer. Do you expect me to be toiling in the same space as the newcomers? It will make me look ridiculous. That as a grown brand and an established person, a legend par excellence, I am now still struggling with boys that are trying to use skits to establish themselves. So you expect us to leave our own comfort and then come and reorganize this. No, it is you people that should let them know in the comment sections that you don't like what they are doing. You now have the power to choose what you want. You either unfollow them and then let them know why you're unfollowing them, or you constantly also rant back at them, because some people, their own is to rant and end followership. And that's another place where corporate Nigeria is really failing its people. Somebody busts out with something that does not exactly make sense, but because it gets traction, you suddenly make them an ambassador, you start giving them money, you give them cars and all of that. Then you devalue people who have given time and expertise. You don't look at someone who has been here for 20 years to say, okay, let's balance it. I keep telling corporate brands, the only way some of you can get your ROI on ambassadors is if you can critically look at it and make sense of your ambassadorships. You just look at somebody that is trending, you make them ambassador. They don't give you return on investment, you complain. You now use it to categorize everybody. No, it's your fault. You didn't choose the right persons. What stops you from choosing somebody on the Alibaba League? You balance it with someone on the Kofi League. You look at someone on the Sheilo League. You look at someone on the Funny Bone League. You choose ambassadors on every strata, spread them across. And for every time they go out, they engage your audience and speak more about your brand. But you just look for somebody who has no experience, who just got lucky. And then you make them an ambassador. And then they are not also as intelligent as you expect. And then they suddenly start to water down your brand and you're complaining. So we all need to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, what exactly is this society trying to sell to itself and its future? Because our young ones are seeing all of these things. The more experienced you become in Nigeria, the more worthless you're starting to be. The more valuable you become over the time. People push you aside and look for, they're always looking for new. They're not looking for experience. But we should go back to the drawing board and say, look, the same way you ask people, how many years of experience have you had before employing them? It's the same people you should look at someone who is just trending and say, how many years have you been here? Because you need to speak, public speaking of the brand. How will you be able to, not just the way some of these guys, you know, because there's a very nonchalant, lackadaisical attitude, and that's what you people are seeing. And that's what people are complaining. Man, that year with them Kofi, they do stand-up comedy for us. Nobody like, what will they hear nowadays?
What can be done to change this narrative? Like you said, our kids are listening. What
can be done is to stop throwing away your valuables. Stop looking at people who have been here doing the good job and saying, this one know they rain again. We should stop doing that to entertainers. You know, you look at an artist that has been here for about 10, 15 years, because they don't have a present hit song, you wash them down. Now, some of you who do that have actually changed jobs over time. Some of you have done like 3, 4 jobs in the past 15 years. But an entertainer decides to extend their brand into something else. You say, in career, don't die. You know, they useful again. This one, know they tap again. He's no longer in the limelight. It's not about limelight. It's about value added over time. That's why I like Fuji artists. Their fan base keeps carrying them. They don't care who is in the limelight.
As far as it's entertaining them.
They just keep going with it. They don't. That's why ethnic brands will forever be here.
Okay.
But you see, the pop brands would always keep having that problem over time, because we are always ephemeral. We're always just, now waiting, you know, and we need to stop that. Okay. We need to start valuing what we own, what is our own. If you go abroad, Dolly Parton is still one of the biggest brands in America, irrespective of who the rapper that is reigning is. She's making more money than the current rapper, because country music is their own ethnic sound and they value it. The lessons, if you hear her, what's the name of that song? Something about God, something. She's asking God questions, you know. It's a new song. And the streaming numbers of that song is way more than the average rapper that you are all shouting, hey, hey, hey.
Kofi, it's obvious that we don't have enough time.
Oh, really?
All of this, but we're going to play one of your comedy skits right now.
Oh, okay.
It's something we're going to... Let's just play it and see.
Hope it's not something that I've got to do.
You hit that child, bam! It happened to me in Abeokuta. My brother and I were reversing. Now only be reversing, sit down for passenger side. The boy was crossing and ran through. Bam! Only the boy whole leg. Say, from nowhere the whole boy. Yeah! What do you do? In a yeah! Yoruba people, our fear rate is too high. Now the boy they call him Mama Mommy and say, Yoruba scenario. You come meet the mama, say, mommy, sorry, I didn't know. I'm sorry, I'll pay you 5 million naira for this boy. The personal things that Yoruba people do is they look for a place to go and plug their problem. The moment they see one helper, they carry all that problem and put on the helper. The moment the Yoruba person hears, mommy, I will pay you for this boy. God, you don't do well. This boy, this boy that tell me, say when he grow up, he's going to build house for me. You now say, okay, mommy, it's not a problem. Anything this boy has promised to do for you, I'll do. I'll build you the house. This boy, he also tell me.
So we have to quickly go. Quick one. Do you laugh at yourself sometimes when you watch yourself?
Well,
You wonder, did I just do this?
I look at myself in retrospect and I was like, see this here, see this. What's all this now? But it's all good. It's all
Koffi Tha Guru, thank you very much for coming.
Merci
Thank you so
beaucoup.
much for
Thank you.
coming to talk to us, of course.